Well, hello there, everyone. Art Burns here, and it is long time no see. Gosh, I missed doing these videos the last couple of days, and I'm really, really sorry to have missed you all. It's really been quite a challenging few days. My family moved into a new home last week, and I will admit that I kind of vastly underestimated the amount of time and energy it was going to take, and unfortunately, the videos just weren't able to happen. Just mostly due to just logistics. As you can see, I still don't have my office set up. It's not, we're still kind of living out of boxes and stuff. But yeah, it was a really amazing opportunity to practice mindfulness. I'll tell you that. As you all know, what I talk about when I talk about mindfulness is, being present with what's happening. That's the first step towards mindfulness, is to simply be here right now, right? And so obviously, when you're moving and you're dealing with trucks and boxes and hand trucks and stairs and all this, it's a very, very good opportunity to be right where you are and to really kind of turn towards some of the discomfort that was happening. And that leads to the second aspect of mindfulness, which is acceptance, right? To again turn towards the things that are happening, even if they're unpleasant, and just sort of accept them, for at least for right now, right? Just understanding that whatever's happening is impermanent, and eventually it will pass, and eventually I'll be unpacked from all these boxes, and eventually I'll be able to to get back to the sort of more regular routine and more comfort and more more preferable circumstances, if you will, right? More comfortable circumstances. And of course, part of the big delay is the fact that we're doing all this during a pandemic, and life is just not normal. And so accepting that, it was very, very important throughout the last few days, as it is always as we're practicing mindfulness. And then finally, the last component of mindfulness, in terms of the way that I sort of work with it, is compassion. Right now, compassion means not only a sense of kindness, a loving kindness towards everything. Just approaching the world and approaching all the people in the world with a level of kindness and with a level of what we call loving kindness, just wanting for everybody to be well, right? But then also taking that a step further and going into compassion, right? And especially with regards to the last few days, is practicing self-compassion, right? Really offering myself that sort of kindness and that acceptance of what's happening, and specifically during this acceptance and during the challenging time, remembering that there's suffering that happens with everyone. Every single person in the world is suffering. Well, I mean, not every single person, every single moment of the day, but everyone in the world has experienced suffering on some level. And so the suffering that I have felt, while I'm, wrenching my back, carrying boxes upstairs and things like this, it doesn't separate me from the rest of the world. It actually connects me to the rest of the world, right? Because the one common thing that we have is the suffering that we all experience, right? There's so many things that divide us, so many things that categorize us separately, like our gender, our cultural background, our ethnicity, our body type, our age, our abilities. These things are the things that kind of separate us. But the one thing that combines us all through these separations is suffering. And so those are the ways that we practice mindfulness. And so so the last few days have certainly been a great opportunity for me to practice, and that's the thing. Even though I am a teacher of mindfulness, and even though I'm a coach of mindfulness, I still have to practice too. It's just like a personal trainer has to keep working out. You can't, it's not something that's ever, where you get to a point like, okay, now I'm mindful, it's over, I don't have to do anything more. It really is it's a practice. We call it a practice for a reason, right? Because it's a sort of, it's a process, not a condition that you reach, and so taking, moments during the last few days, and really just, stopping and recognizing the presence, the acceptance, and the self-compassion, and it's been able to get me through this in a way that it was much more comfortable than it certainly could have been. So, yay! But all that to say, I am certainly happy that it's over, and even though the process is not done, I'm still living out of boxes and not in my office space, and things are not quite normal yet. It's nice that I don't have to keep lifting boxes and walking up and down stairs with them. So anyway, last night actually was the first step back into my normal routine where I did my weekly webinar. And I want to welcome all of you who are seeing this video for the first time. This is the first of many emails that you're going to receive from me every day, unless I'm moving. Every day, Monday through Friday, I send out an email with another topic of mindfulness and from mindfulness, about mindfulness. And these emails are meant to, and the videos that accompany them are meant to, sort of bring a little bit more understanding, into what we talk about when we talk about meditation, and we talk about mindfulness, and we talk about the practices, and we talk about all the stuff that I just talked about for the last few minutes. So welcome. I'm really glad that you're here. And I want to say that last night was another just amazing group of folks, just, really engaged and really excited, asking some great questions, and, really into the meditation that we did in the middle of the presentation. During this presentation, if you haven't joined, if you haven't gotten to see it, during the presentation, I do a guided meditation, and people love it. And I love guiding it. And so welcome to everyone who was part of that amazing meeting last night. And so today, sort of to follow up on the meeting from last night, I want to talk about what meditation really is, right? Because as you can see from my favorite t-shirt, one of my favorite t-shirts, it's not what you think, right? It's a great pun. Meditation is not about thinking, right? Of course. Maybe I shouldn't say of course, because that is something that is frequently misunderstood. A lot of people sometimes approach meditation and they feel like, okay, meditation is about, sort of thinking some type of thought, right? And no, that's not really what it is. Meditation simply is just focusing your attention on a given thing, right? Now that thing could be a mantra that some people like to use, right? Or that thing, like I like to use it, can be the breath, right? But more importantly, what I want to explain today is what happens when we focus our minds in this way, right? Because this is the really important aspect of, and this is the benefit of mindfulness and meditation, right? Specifically formal meditation, but it also works with informal practices, like when you focus your attention on, doing dishes or folding laundry or walking somewhere or driving somewhere. It's all about, focusing your attention so that you're, again, let me get back to what meditation is not, right? It's not about quieting your mind. It's not about, slowing down your thoughts. It's not about resting your mind. It's not about turning anything off. It's another very, very common thing I hear from people when I talk about meditation for the first time, or when they're talking about maybe meditating for the first time. People often tell me, well, I can't meditate because I have too many thoughts, right? And I get that, and like I tell, I learned this great trick from a teacher of mine, where I ask people when they say that, I ask them, okay, I'm going to tell you right now, don't think about a monkey. And what's the first thing that just came into your mind, right? Of course, it's a monkey, right? That's the way our mind works. So if we try to tell ourselves, okay, mind, shut down, don't think, don't create more thoughts, it's just not, if anything, you're going to get more thoughts, right? So it's not about, controlling the mind in that sense. What it is about allowing the mind to settle a little bit, right? And the only way we can do that is by settling ourselves first, right? So when we sit in meditation, right, what we're doing is we're engaging in the act of non-doing, right? Which sounds very paradoxical, but that's what it is, right? Our whole lives are spent doing. In fact, John Kabat-Zinn, the pioneer of mindfulness-based stress reduction in the West here. He has a great excerpt from one of his books where he says that we should rename the human species into human doings as opposed to human beings, because it's so rare and seldom that we allow ourselves to just be, right? And when we sit in meditation, that's what we're doing. We're just being. We're unplugging from the flow of the of life and the hustle and the responsibilities and all that stuff that we have to do all the time, right? Now, one thing I always try to tell people is, don't worry, that stuff will be waiting for you when you're done meditating. It's like it doesn't go away, right? Like meditation doesn't really, magically, take away your responsibilities and your obligations and all that, right? But what it does is gives you an ability to relate to those obligations and responsibilities in a different way, right? With a sense of clarity, right? Because what we're really doing when we're meditating is we're gaining a sense of clarity about what's happening inside of us, right? And the only way we can do that is to stop the flow of all the doing and engage in just being, right? A very common, one of the ways I like to illustrate this is think of a snow globe. Right, so if you take a snow globe and you shake it up, the snowflakes are all filling the dome there, and you can't see what's inside, right? But when you put the snow globe down, excuse me, my cat is exploring the balcony outside. When you put the snow globe down on a table, right, and you allow it to just be, right, you allow it to just sit there and just not be agitated with any kind of motion or action or any sort of, agitation, what happens? All that snow just settles down to the bottom, and emerging from that is the vision, the clear and crisp and vivid vision of what is inside that snow globe, right? So that is what happens when we do meditation, right? When we practice meditation, what we are doing is we are taking our mind like the snow globe, and we're allowing it to just sit, just sit for, even if it's for 3 minutes, you're going to feel after 3 minutes, those the snowflakes in your mind are going to settle down. And what reveals itself is the sort of the understanding of the mechanism of your mind, right? Now that can be in the thoughts, that can be in the emotions, and it can also be in the physical feelings, right? The sensations, right? And when we do that, what we do is we gain a level of understanding about ourselves. And this is a very, very important understanding, because this is where we learn about, we learn about our emotional triggers, we learn about our, our implicit biases, we learn about our, tendencies, our preferences, our aversions, we learn about where we're clinging to things where we should be letting go, and we learn about where we're pushing away from things where we should be accepting them. And so in this knowledge that we gain from this practice of simply sitting and non-doing, it's the easiest thing you can do, right? Because you're just literally doing nothing. But the knowledge that you gain and the understanding that you gain is absolutely invaluable for almost every single aspect of your life, okay? So for the next few days, I'm going to be doing some more videos about some of these, going into each one of these kind of aspects, and how the benefits, what benefits come from these different aspects. So I welcome you again to this group, and for all of you who have been here, I missed you for the last few days, and I'm glad to be back. And I just want you to all know that I wish you well, and I'll be back on my regular routine starting today, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Thank you again for listening, and thank you for watching. I wish you well. Take care.